sometimes we need to save other people from themselves, right? And so the first thing that we see about Abigail is that she knows both of these men. She knows that her husband is stingy and difficult, and most likely a little jealous of David, because David is the one that's been doing something for his shepherds that he wasn't able to do. And so she knows what kind of person he is. She also knows that when he gets like this, there's no talking to him. There's no reasoning with him, no reason to confront him. It's just going to provoke him further. And she also knows that time is of the essence. And so she understands this man that she's dealing with. That's the first thing that we notice. She not only knows what he's like, but she knows when to talk and when not to. And she realizes no point in discussing this with him right now. She also realizes when she comes home that whenever he's drunk, that's definitely not a time to tell him everything that has happened. And so she is wise in her dealings with her husband because she knows what kind of person he is, and she knows how to deal with that. But she also knows what kind of man David is. And so the first thing that she does is find out what was David asking for and can she meet this need? And she can give him the food that he has asked for. And it looks like she goes above and beyond, giving him a ton of food. And so she's kind of coming to him with gifts, trying to kind of butter him up, get him in a good mood right from the start. She also does this by bowing down to him because she knows that her husband has disrespected him. And so she pays him honor right off the bat, giving him the two things that her husband did not give, and letting him know that, she's going to treat him differently and she's going to pay him the honor that he deserves and give him the things that he's asked for. And then, even though she doesn't know David personally, she knows what kind of man he is. And she makes sure that he realizes that he knows that too, because that's the other thing that Nabal didn't give to him. He said, I don't even know David. And she's like, I know exactly who you are. You are the warrior that has been fighting for us on behalf of the Lord your God. And I know that you care about God. I know that you want to please him. And I also know that Saul has been seeking your life. He has been trying to do you evil, and you have returned his evil with good. And so I am appealing to the man that I believe you are, the man that doesn't return evil with evil. And I'm asking you to do the same thing. So she's not patronizing him. She's not saying, oh, you're better than this, because nobody wants to hear that. FYI. When you talk to people like that and say, oh, you're better than that, that's talking down to them. She didn't say it to him. She just let him know that she knows he is better than this. She knows what kind of man he is. And so she's not condemning him for what he's doing. She's understanding him. Immediately she says, I get it. My husband was wrong, makes no excuses for him, and then seems to sympathize with David for what he wants to do to Nabal. But then she's like, but I know that that's not what you want to do. You in your heart want to do that right now, but I know that the kind of man you are is not the kind of man that would do this. And so she is appealing to the kind of person that she knows him to be and encouraging him to be that person. And I think as a woman, that's the most difficult part of what she did, is trying to encourage him to be the man that she knows that he is without patronizing him. And I think the reason that she's successful in it is because she's not, like I said, talking down to him, but she's also letting him know that she has his best interest at heart. She's trying to reveal to him, hey, I want you to rise above, not because it's the right thing and I want you to be a better person and all of that, but because I don't want you to approach the throne with guilt. I want you to be able to become the king with clean hands, knowing that you've trusted God and you haven't taken matters into your own hands. And so I think that's why she was successful in letting him know that she's not condemning him and that she's not patronizing him, but that she has his best interest at heart. She's not doing this for Nabal's sake, she's doing it for David's sake. And when we approach people, letting them know, hey, I'm coming to you saying something that you may not want to hear, but it is because I care about you. It's not because I'm trying to take up for someone else or say that they don't deserve that or say that you're a bad person for doing this. It's because I know later you're going to regret it. And so I'm trying to save you from yourself. I'm trying to help you out before you make a mistake because I care about you. And when we come at it in that regard, saying we get it, but we're trying to help them out, I think that that's when people will see, oh, she does have my best interest at heart. She's not doing this with any ulterior motive. She's not doing it for herself. She's not doing it for that other person. She actually is caring about me. And we're going to talk about that further in the blog post. The blog post is going to kind of go through how Abigail dealt with these two men and maybe how we can deal with someone that's being difficult and try to say the right thing in the right way. And so if you're listening to this in real time, I am behind on the blog post, so just bear with me, pay attention, because when we get to that, it'll be a little bit more precise about how we can be a little more like Abigail. But for now, I just want to read you some verses that talk about, saying the right thing in the right way at the right time. And so the first one is Proverbs 10:12, and it says, hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. And so that's what she's doing. She is trying to, be loving to these two men and cover their offenses with that and not coming to them with, a bad attitude. And then in Proverbs 15:1-2, it says, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And so that's what she's doing, right? She's talking to him softly so that she does not, make things worse. How often do we do this, right? How often do we, escalate the situation as opposed to de-escalating just because we are, matching that person's energy? When they're rude, then we're rude. When they're speaking, in a harsh manner, then we're doing the same. When they're yelling, we're yelling. And so it's saying, don't do that because you're just going to make things worse. And then in verse 2, it says, the tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly, but the mouth of fools pours forth foolishness. So you use the information that you get in the right way if you are wise. And that's what Abigail did. She got this information about what her husband had done, and she's using it in a wise way. And then in verse 18 of chapter 15, it says, a hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but he who is slow to anger quiets contention. So obviously, that's what we want to be, and that's how we can keep things from escalating. And then in Proverbs 16:20-24, it says, whoever gives thought to the word will discover good, and blessed is he who trusts in the Lord. The wise of heart is called discerning, and sweetness of speech increases persuasiveness. Good sense is a fountain of life to him who has it, but the instructions of fools is folly. The heart of the wise makes his speech judicious and adds persuasiveness to his lips. Gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. That is what Abigail was, right? She was discerning, she was kind, she was persuasive. And, persuasion does work a lot better than, forcefulness or harshness. It works a lot better if you want someone to do what you are asking for them to do, to persuade them that they need to act differently. And then in Proverbs 17:14, it says, the beginning of strife is like releasing water. Therefore, stop contention before a quarrel starts. So we want to be able to de escalate the situation. And that's what she did. She, realized ahead of time and she was able to, stop it before it got out of hand. Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Proverbs 23:9, do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the good sense of your words. That's what Abigail was doing with Nabal. She's like, no point in trying to reason with him. If I go to him and ask him to do this thing, then he's probably going to refuse, and I'm just going to make him mad, and then he's going to forbid me, and it's all going to be a bad deal. And so there's no point in trying to reason with someone when they are in a, unreasonable state. And so, better to wait until they are easier to talk to than to do it whenever you know that they're, in the heat of their anger or just really frustrated in some way at the moment. And then Proverbs 26:4 says, do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you will also be like him. So, don't talk to him in the same way that he's talking to you. Don't be harsh to him, yell at him, be mean, say the same types of things, do the same types of things, because it's only going to escalate the situation. And then in Proverbs 26:21, it says, as charcoal is to burning coals and wood is to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. So, when you see someone already mad, don't add fuel to the fire. That's what he's saying there. And then in Proverbs 30:33, it says, for the churning of milk produces butter, and the pressing of the nose produces blood. So does the churning of anger produce strife. So again, not provoking the person that is already upset. And then the last verse, Romans 14:19 says, so then we pursue the things which make for peace and the building up of one another. That's also what Abigail did. She was trying to pursue peace, and then she went to David and she built him up.